broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour. And we are back for our final segment on Fate Mag Radio. And I am going to just turn this over to Ray for a bit. And Brenda in chat says, it's okay, Kat. We've been through this before. We rise and then we fall. And then we rise. I don't think we're going to fall. I think there are enough people who are recognizing the issues that are working on themselves to be able to bring that positivity and light into our society and help, don't you?
Absolutely. And I think it's really a matter of, we've gone down, talked about some negative things tonight, and it's important not to gloss over negative things. One thing I think that gets mischaracterized about, quote unquote positive thinking or things like that is that I just ignore all the bad things. And there are people who will teach you that. It's like, you've got to stay away from anything that's negative or,
right.
Because that'll just suck you down. And it's true, it can, but you have to kind of put the armor on sometimes. And you have to go to those places where things are not right. And to me, part of the positivity is recognizing what needs to change and then being a part of that change, right? And you have to heal, you have to kind of clean the wound before you can heal the wound. And if you pretend there's no wound, then you can't do that. And so I feel like, well, I could see if I were sitting listening to this, I might feel like, wow, Kat and Ray really went down some negative stuff here tonight. We're bringing out these issues because I really feel like, and bringing this back to what we can do, is, again, we have to decide who we want to be. We have to be aware that these things are going on, and we have to decide, is that who we want to be? And that's a question for us to ask individually. It's a question for us to ask, collectively. And if we decide that what is right now is not what we want it to be, then we have to decide what do we want, and we have to start working for that, and we have to find like-minded people who are also moving in a positive direction on those things. And I really do believe that this will come out good in the end. I think that we're going through a lot of these things. Think about it in your own individual life. We've all had those situations, right, where it seemed so negative at the time something happened, and yet it turned out to be such a blessing or such a positive in our life. I'm almost to the point where our life wouldn't have been what it is without that downtime.
Absolutely.
And I feel like as a country and as a world, we're kind of going through that. And it's the same process, right?
It's a growth
We
process.
have to go through all this stuff, and we will see in the end what the good is that will come out of this. And I think that we are going to get to that point, but we're just having to go through some things right now because there's some things we need to heal.
I know that our country, this country in particular, has been divided so many times, and we come together as a people. We heal. I live in Birmingham, Alabama, and we went through divisive times here when I was a child. People came together, and in this city now, people always, whenever there's some sort of cause that somebody wants to demonstrate for, they'll send people here thinking that this is a rally point. We're not. We have been down that road. We have fought that battle. We have come through with love. We have unity breakfasts here when we have Martin Luther King Day. We care about each other. We are a community. Birmingham is the biggest small town that you'll ever come across. I love here. And, that's what gives me hope, because if it could happen here with all the anger and the media that was focused here just because of that, and this town has overcome that in large part. You'll still find people that'll run their mouths and look like a fool, but as a rule, they're the exception. And so that gives me hope for everything else too, because all it takes is caring and bringing your light to something and lead by example.
Mm-hmm.
We're good at that.
I love that. I love that metaphor of all the darkness in the universe can be overcome by a single match, right?
Yes.
I mean, you could have dark space, right? And one match can overcome all that darkness.
Yes.
And that's what we have to remember. We are those matches. Focus on the person in front of you right now. Smile at them. Make eye contact. That kind of thing. Today was a random act of kindness day, and you'd commented when you retweeted that today that
I did.
Every day ought to be that, right? And that's
every day
true.
is.
I mean, we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait for orders from Washington, D.C. or anything for us to be kind to each other or to change these things that we want to see changing. We can do it in every interaction we have with people online, in person. I was getting into kind of a political discussion on Twitter the other day, and people were kind of like, they were kind of getting in their heated thing. I'm like, hey, whoa. And one guy said, thanks for not blocking. I'm like, I don't block anyone. I believe in dialogue, and I believe in having a conversation. We may disagree, but we can do it respectfully and not
Absolutely.
have, anger at each other, right? And I think we need to, every chance we have as individuals as we go through our day, we just need to plant those seeds, like Johnny Appleseed, going through the forest and planting seeds. Plant those seeds of kindness. Plant those seeds of humanity. Let that other person know that, hey, you may disagree with me, but I don't hate you because you disagree with me. Just disagree. It's okay. All those things that we can each do individually, pretty soon that starts adding up, and we're going to see changes in the world. And I think that's what starts getting us moving in the right direction.
It does add up. I see it all the time because I am one of those people that I like people. I enjoy people.
Mm-hmm.
So I am the one making eye contact. I am the one that smiles and says, I hope your day's going great. If somebody's a buck short on something, then, if I've got it, I pop it in there, right? You just do what you can, and the little things totally do add up. You're 100% right. And thank goodness for that.
Catch yourself. Catch yourself before you go down that name. Someone cuts you off in traffic, right? We can have an immediate reaction, right? Oh my gosh! But have you ever cut someone off in traffic? Did you do it on purpose, or was it an accident? It's probably an accident, right? You didn't see them
most of the time.
And probably was for them
kidding.
too. So they're probably not some cuss word we throw at them immediately, right? That's probably not defining their whole life because they did that. I mean, get conscious about that kind of stuff. Don't go down those roads because you can spend the whole day. That's first thing while you're driving to work. Someone cuts you off work, you get all excited and worked up and angry and all that sort of thing, and that can ruin your whole morning or your whole day. And you're going around spreading that to everybody you interact with because you're mad about that, right? Don't let that fire start in you. Put it out right now.
You have to. You have to do it. And I have a phrase that I use when something like that happens, and it is usually in my head, right? And I'm just like, that phrase. And I go on about my business because I'm just like, well, I just can't hold this. I might get mad for a few minutes, but I don't generally tend to stay mad because it doesn't do any good. And I hate how that makes me feel. I just hate that sensation. And it's like the other stuff. We were talking about all the negativity and everything, and it is exasperating when you see it and you know that you're being played. But I have found that sometimes just flowing towards that person helps, even if it's somebody who has made my blood kind of boil. You get yourself back, and then you just kind of get that energy flowing, and you take a deep breath. And you go. You go to the next. Brenda says, I pray and walk away. Well, yeah. You go on to the next, because if you stay in the moment, it's not going to do you any good.
Mm-hmm.
You're so wise.
And that's a good practice as well, right? I mean, we all go there sometimes. When you go there, notice next time you do go there into that negative space, how you feel. You feel like you want to go take a shower, right? Because that energy is
absolutely, it's terrible.
It's as real as going out and sweating up a storm, right? In a hot day or something. I mean, it's palpable. You feel like you want to go wash yourself off. And you feel kind of a little like, almost, I do at least, feel a little bit ashamed, right? That I allowed myself to go there, and I try to learn from those experiences and stop it before it gets to that point, So
well, it's not something you want to carry around.
No.
It's terrible for you. It's terrible for your heart. It's terrible for your soul. It's terrible for your mind. There's not anything that is good for. And I'm certainly not going to lose any friends or, by my choice because someone doesn't agree with me. What do
Mm-hmm.
I care what their thought process is? If I like them for reasons other than the color shoes they wear or who they love or, you know, what side of the street they live on. I mean, there's nothing that I can think of that would cause me, as long as they're the same person, you just love them.
Mm-hmm.
And the things that matter don't change as a rule. That's why I find this divisiveness that our country is being thrown into when it gets down to personal relationships really kind of sad. And
Mm-hmm.
I wish that if nothing else, people would just remember that just because somebody disagrees with you, you really like that person. There's a reason you're friends.
Mm-hmm.
Try to bring that back, right?
Absolutely. Again, a meter, I think, is this moving me towards the person I want to be or away from the person I want to be? Is that the energy I want to put out into the world? Is that raising the bar? Is that moving me forward? Is that moving us forward? And if it's not, then don't go there, because we do get sucked in. We do have our strong opinions, and you go on Twitter and you can easily find a Twitter war going on somewhere, and jump in, and it's kind of anonymous in a way, so you can kind of be negative and throw that stuff out there, or you can add some light to the conversation, and we just have to get smarter about the information we consume, the way we interact with each other, and again, think about, how is this going to move us forward? Is that the person I want to be? Is this the nation we want to be? And I think if we answer that question in every situation, we'll know what the right thing is to do.
Absolutely. I love talking with you. I
Thank
really
you. I
do.
love talking with you too.
And I greatly enjoy everything that comes out across Sixth Sense Media, because it's positive, it's informative. There are things that are a little contentious, but they're handled gracefully.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty amazing that you and Dennis bring your information the way that you do.
Yeah, we're really committed to open dialogue. We're both big believers in freedom of speech and that kind of thing, but we're also big believers in what we've been talking about tonight, and bringing light to the world, right? And not just the negativity, but also, again, like we talked about tonight, there are things we need to focus on, but we need to figure out, then bring it back around to what can we do about them, because it's not just enough to. I think the news does that a lot, right? They throw the negative stuff out there, and they just leave you on the corner there with all that negativity, and there's no solution, there's no end to it. And I think one of the things we're really trying to do is bring ideas, and we certainly don't have all the answers. I mean, we wouldn't claim to do that. And by the way, one of the things we want to do with this platform is we really want more voices. We want more contributors, more people who want to blog or write or do podcasts or whatever, and collaborate together, because we can't possibly be experts on everything and write on everything, and there's a need for people who are like-minded like us to try to bring more light to these conversations, and focus on some of these issues that don't get mainstream attention a lot. We really want to do that. We feel like that's important, and we'd love to have people who are interested in doing that join us. So,
well, I think that that's not going to be an issue. I think there's a lot more people like us than there are not, don't you?
I absolutely do. I've noticed this over the last 20, 25 years. There's been a fundamental change. You don't see them, if you look at the mainstream culture, you don't see it, but I've noticed more and more people who are feeling this way and realizing that